All right, so now we're on to the assembly of the minimum viable camera. And we'll just make a start, I guess. I've got my demo model here because you may see as you're playing around with this that it's actually quite, it's really easy to get your head flipped around in like reversals of mirrors. I will, hand on my heart, I am not a professional designer. I am just a person who has a mind that kind of clicks like this sometimes, and this is just something I've made that no one else has, and I'm just kind of releasing it to the world. And if anyone wants to play around with it or do whatever, they're more than welcome to, contact me and we can sort something out. Anyway, without further ado, so you're going to want to locate your shutter piece. Sorry, I should also mention this is all cut from any 3mm stock. You can do this with a laser cutter, as I have, but I imagine you could print these files out just on A4 paper and then put it on some foam board and get a scalpel and create your camera in such a way like that. Look, these are plans that work, and they're really not, it's not so complicated. The material is not the important thing here. Nonetheless, I think if you're at this point, you kind of get the idea. Anyway, so you want to locate your shutter and your corresponding piece of foam. You will need some amount of foam from a craft store. Self-adhesive is fine. I found 2 to 4 mil thick foam would probably be best. Thin stuff, just because later on when we put these ones in, it needs to compress a fair bit to provide light sealing. I wouldn't go any thinner than 2 mil. So 2 mil foam, and you want to locate your shutter piece. I was a bit lazy today and didn't cut out my shutter, so bear with me, but you need to glue it to one side and make your shutter. I'll be using this one for sake of demo, but okay. Now you want to locate your front. I've got the matte side on the inside. It really doesn't make a difference. You just need to make sure it's a light-proof material. And now you want to, as I said, this is very easy to get confused. You want a hole on the left and the baffle holes facing forward. And you want to slot that in like so. In fact, yep, like so. Now you need to, sorry, that's your front piece, obviously. Now you need a side. That is how this looks. Matte side in, because that's the way I'm feeling. But again, it doesn't really make a difference. I'm gonna hold it in like yay. And then your other side, the same, until you have just this front sort of chassis going. It'll do that. We'll be gluing it in very shortly. You probably just need about 1 small tube of super glue. This one is 3 grams. I'm sure you'll be able to source that from somewhere. So, bloody super glue. You know? Who knew it was designed to stick human flesh together? Anyway. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little tack. Just there for now. I'll let that set. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Yep, should be good. We'll be doing more of this later, this is for now just to get it together. Kind of less is more here. You don't need much at this stage. This is not a permanent glue, this is just getting it together. It doesn't need to be light proof or anything because we're using our handy dandy duct tape for light proofing on the seals. But yeah. Okay, so that's that. Now, this is very important, as I said. You need to locate a trap, I guess I'm going to call this. I don't really have a technical name for it. You need to take this, place it in this orientation, captured as best you can in the corner. Get that there so you can have a decent look at it. I'm sorry I can't do much better than that. Yeah, I'm going to do that one time really clearly. In this orientation, in the left-hand corner, as best as you can, and then you shall do the same, just tack it in with a dab of super glue. Now the same thing on the other side, but on the right-hand side, the orientation needs to be like this, right? So with the hook pointing downwards. Once again, we're just gonna tack that in. Awesome, it's going great. And now you get another one and just place it on top in the same orientation. Nothing complicated, but just we need to stack these just to get the required height. And yeah, just a light tack will do. Doesn't need to be much, at least not now. Probably be running a bead along it later. And again, same thing. This orientation on the right hand side. Tack. Marvelous, that's looking great. Okay, so I'm just going to have to let that dry. Now you do have a choice here if you want to. No, we'll talk about that later. So, now that it's sufficiently dry, this is where it gets a bit tricky. So do pay attention. We need to have. I'm going to double check this on my model that I know works. All right. So we need to have baffle holes forward and the hole on the right hand side. So it's the mirror image of the bottom one. Right. So we're going to take that, then rotate the whole thing so it's upside down. And then we are again going to place it in this orientation in the corner as best we can. Remember, this isn't glued and we don't want to glue it in just yet. We just want to get one of these traps in. So I'm going to just tack just down here. I'll just bring this up so you have an idea. Again, this is black, not the best thing, but you might be able to get an image there. Yeah, you can sort of see that. So nice and tight, all in there. Get your super glue and just tack it in. There we go, that's all it needs. And conversely, this orientation on the right hand side. And just tacking it in at that edge there. Once it's set with the glue, we'll have a far better chance of doing it, but we just need to, we let the box align the traps, if that makes sense. And we can do that once again. So this orientation on the left hand side. When we're tacking it, we'll make sure we're not gluing it to the sides of the box, as the lid does need to be removable. This in this current orientation, this is actually upside down. So maybe just dribble it down there. That should be sufficient. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, this orientation, a bit of paper, on the right hand side. just a dab of super glue just to connect it and tack it in. It doesn't need to be much. This isn't bearing any load, and even if it were, it wouldn't be much. Okay, and I'm gonna call that done. So I think we can actually get a better look at that. Let's see if I can bring you guys in. Can he? So that's the way it needs to be, and that is actually the top upside down. So now we have these, and that should just fit in there quite nicely. And then your back, what's in there? And that's actually assembly, quote unquote, done. Not quite done just yet. We want to take our hardware, which is, this is a 3/16 flathead screw and wing nut. Anything will work here. I've sized the holes for an M5 bolt. I'd recommend using an M5 bolt and an M5 wing nut. However, whatever. I imagine a rivet might even work, or I'm sure this is within your means. M5 nut, M5 wing nut. Pop it through. And other one as well. There we go. And get your shutter. Again, I'm using this wood one just because I forgot to get the foam shutter last time. And I'm just going to screw it on. And I'm going to do it a bit tight because I'm going to be gluing the screws to the plastic. I know that's metal to plastic is a bit of a faux pas, but in this case, the forces at play are so light it really doesn't matter. And even if it does, you can actually grab the screw and work it out manually and fix it up with something a bit stronger next time you disassemble your camera, which is something you'll be doing fairly often if you shoot with this. I have thoughts going forward to make it half frame, full frame, panoramic. It's actually, the files do make it quite a versatile design, which I'm quite happy with. But we'll talk about that later. I mean, this is just assembly. So yeah, so now the bolts are in. I'm just going to add a bit of glue to here just to capture these bolts. Might as well do the whole thing. No real worry with using too much super glue here, as long as you're not making a massive mound. I'll let that sit upside down, don't want the super glue pouring everywhere. Cool. So, sure, super glue fumes in my eye. How about that? All right, so now we're going to take one of the 6 foam bits, and we need to just glue it in and try and be precise. If you can't, no big deal. It should just fit in there quite nicely, to be honest. But yeah, that'll do. It doesn't need to be much, just a dab will do you. In the words of someone I used to know. There we go. That's it. And we'll do the same thing to our top piece as well. This one's a little bit easier. That's a bit of a ragged baffle, but that'll be okay. And these aren't really holding much weight, so you really don't need much glue, and there's very little force. They just need to stay still, that's all. Okay. Same thing on the other side. go. All there. Oh, one thing to be careful of, I forgot to mention, if you're using felt that might have a cotton component, super glue and cotton do violently react, so just take it nice and slow. It can auto-ignite, something to be very aware of. If you don't use super glue, hot glue will work just fine for this project. If you're cutting it out of MDF, PVA will work. I'm just using super glue out of convenience here. Cool, these ones are in. Now you need to take your dowel or whatever material you're using for your winders. I think this is 9mm dowel, that feels right to me. I'll probably put it in the description a little bit better later, sorry. And you want to try and friction fit through your knob. Where's my other one? There it is. Friction fit through your knob. And then load it up with a canister. Actually, this way here will be better. Just be careful, make sure if you're using super glue, you let it set before you add anything there. You don't want being there permanently. That is a hard to learn lesson that sucks. Set that there. And yep, cool, that's in place. Now, one baffle here underneath. Oh, where'd the other one go? Oh, I'm sure it'll turn up. There, and you want to pop it in the in your film caster so the slot lines up with the little T-bit here. Sorry, put it through your baffle, line it up, and then push down the knob so it's fairly tight. Really make sure that you're, maybe back the knob up just a little bit. We just want to be making a light seal here. So it actually doesn't need to compress it. Compressing it doesn't really help it, just as long as it's firm on it, I guess would be the word. I'm not quite certain. And then take some super glue and actually don't even need to really. The friction fit should be enough. But I like to super glue these because that's just what I like. And yep, that's that one done. Give it some time because the dowel interface between the canister that goes through this plate here is also what helps keep the camera together. The canisters themselves are structurally integral, so just be careful there. I guess if you wanted to, you could glue these on as well. I won't, I'll just keep them loose. Cool. I seem to have lost my other baffle. Who knew? That's okay. You'd be repeating the same procedure, just on the other side. Sorry, it's been a long day. Oh, here it is. Oh no, it came off there. Yep, no big deal. So not a professional, just gonna have to deal with it. But yeah, it's that. What else is there to say? Yeah. Oh, I can't quite remember if there's anything else. Oh, so to finish off assembly, you would take a baffle, pop it in that slot there, take your other baffle, pop it in the other slot, take your two canisters that have been bulk loaded between. You would be wanting to put the one that has the most on it on the left hand side, and the one, so that'd be your feed, and then your take up on the right. You'll pop that on here, and then just do your best to sort of wiggle it together. It can be a bit tricky, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm sure if you've ever done model planes, you'll be very well acquainted with this sort of thing. There we go, it's that one. That one, and just take a bit of care. It should all slot together quite nicely, or at least nicely enough. Cool, that's that. They're all in there fairly well. The back slides on, and then you'll be using the aforementioned duct tape. They're done in small strips. I would be recommending to cut, rip small strips like so. You can permanently light seal some of it. Yeah, you can just do that. I'm sure, again, if you're familiar with cameras and how they work, this will all be very obvious to you. If not, I'm afraid I cannot help you, but this is a fantastic project to research and learn how a camera do. There we go. Cool. Just same old, same old. Top. It is very easy to get turned around, as I said with this. Yep, that's the back, that's the top. Alright, this will be the next one to light seal. Yeah, so I'm probably going to keep going with this, but I think the point is kind of got across. You will, how can I forget? You will at some point need to create a pinhole, of which I'm not the best person to learn that from. Many people on YouTube have made much better videos than I ever will, but you will want to get your pinhole take out your baffles and just put your pinhole, look up to a bit of light, try and get it as centered as possible as you can in that hole, and then tape it in, and that's your pinhole. It's a remarkably simple device that functions. I can't think of anything else really to say about it. Other than best of luck. Please message me or email me with your photographs. Tag me when necessary. I don't really do the social media thing. But I would love to see, post, because I'll be checking anywhere I put this. Do post, and I'd love to see what you make of it. Yeah, have at. Lovely people, you're great, and I love you. Bye.